This is a quick visual guide on how to start the Airbus A320 by Fenix Simulations. Let's jump straight into it. Prior to starting up the aircraft, we go into SimBrief, where we plan our route and generate the flight. We first head to the FB, where we request our SimBrief plan. Also on the FB, we head over to the ground services page, where we request ground power. We then head over to the mass and balance page, where we load our aircraft. The passenger, cargo and block fuel are loaded from our SimBrief plan. We head over to the upper panel, where we switch on the batteries and the external ground power. We switch on the crew oxygen supply, then the ground control. At the top of the upper panel, we switch on the IRS system. We flip ADIS 1, 2 and 3 into the nav position. Left, then right, then center. We then switch on strobe, nav light, emergency exits and seatbelts. And finally we can turn on all the fuel pumps. It is now possible to turn on the APU master on, wait 3 seconds, APU start on. At this point we're ready to move to the FMC and start configuring the flight. We first go into MCDU menu, ATSU, AOC menu, WX. Here we do a weather request for our departure airport, so we type in the cal code for our departure airport and press send. We will then receive the METAR data for our departure airport, and this will be useful for our departure performance calculations. We press return a couple of times, then flight init data request. We now head to the init page, press init request to load the SimBrief plan. We access the init page by pressing the init button. After loading, we type in cost index, flight number and cruise altitude. We verify that the route has been loaded, and then we go back into the init page and load the wind information. Press the flight plan button in order to go into the route and configure departure and arrival. We click next to our departure airport and we input the runway and standard instrument departure, or SID. We will also use the clear button to get rid of flight plan discontinuities. Likewise, we click next to our arrival airport and we input the approach procedure and the IFR arrival route, or STAR. At this point we're ready to configure the weights. Whilst in init page, press the right arrow to go into the init page B. We type in the zero fuel weight, the CG and also the block fuel. This information is readily available on the EFB mass and balance page. On the FB, we head over to the departure performance calculator. We press sync load sheet, sync weather and then press calculate. On the right upper side we then have our departure data. We input this on the FMC on the performance page. We access this page by pressing perf. To start the engines, we first switch on the APU bleed. We head over to the center console, where we switch the engine mode to start. We then turn on the engine fuel injection. We wait for the first engine to become available and then we flip the injection switch for the other engine. We update our baro reference by pressing B. On the upper panel we turn beacon to on. It is now a good time to disconnect the external power, turn off the APU bleed and flip engine mode to normal. On the center console, turn radar and predictive wind shear to auto and set the transponder to auto and also in the TARA mode. Set flaps, arm spoilers and set auto brake to max. Set the initial altitude on the MCP. On the center console, press the takeoff config button to check that your takeoff configuration is good. You'll verify this by making sure that all the ECAM messages are green and there are no blues. After we've done with the FMC, we can initiate the pushback.